Let me die out in the bones. It took me 13 years to blow.
I need to be better. I need to be sober here where it counts, here at home. In Pueblo, it was easy because I was away from everything. I didn't know anybody. But here is where it all started. Here is where I need to make the change.
Loudest, I guess I'll die out here with a hammer and a beer, dying in the bones. So lead me out.
My name is Kodie, and I have 1,023 days of sobriety.
And it's you.
It feels good. It feels really good.
There's a lot of folks who are from the valley and never leave the valley. They stay in the valley their entire lives, and they don't know much more than the valley. And so they become entrenched in what's here. And oftentimes, and depending where you're from, there may not be a lot there. And I think for people who get involved in that crowd or that environment, when they begin using drugs and they fall into those groups, that's the community they know. And I think, especially here in a smaller location, you just don't have the options or the abilities to break away from that.
It's hard. It is very hard because you see people that you care about, people that you've known your whole life. When you see them, it reminds me, like when I see them, it takes me back to when I was there in that situation. There are still some people that I see now where there are moments where I'm like, man, I'm so glad I didn't get that far deep into it, because they are, I hate to say, but sometimes you just have to believe that people will come back from it, but there's other times where you don't believe that they will. So it's really hard just like seeing so many people that you care about still struggling with it. And in a sense, somehow they managed not to get in trouble like I did. So they're still stuck in the cycle. In a sense, I'm grateful that I did raise as much chaos as I did, because it's what put me in the position where I was able to get clarity with myself.
I think Kodie was able to look at her community through a different light and really see the beauty in the culture and the connection of the valley. And I think her just being there and showing up sober and showing up with this almost energy of love and kindness is really going to impact family and friends to pursue sobriety. I think she really has an energy about her that makes it safe for people to be not okay around her. And I think her ability to show up sober and live there is just incredible.
She hadn't had a sanction the entire time, and I was thinking back, and she came in fresh out of ATC and just kicked ass. She's been one of those that's kind of quiet, unassuming, confident, but not overly confident, and just taking care of business. She's never looked back.
When I first started working with Kodie, she was very quiet, and I was a little unsure about how to get her to open up or how she felt about the program. But as I got to know her, I think I realized that she is one of the most intelligent, and I think she was quietly learning about ways to use some of the skills that she's learned and quietly watching. And so she's definitely been one of the most resilient clients I've seen. I mean, through this program, life threw every possible curveball at her, and she just continued to be so strong and resilient. And she overcame things that I think most people never would have, for sure.
Drug court was my main priority, so I had to say no to a lot of things as far as being out and family functions and stuff. If I had something going on with drug court, I made sure it was a priority. So that was really all. That was also my backbone to anything. If I was ever in a situation, I'm committed to what I'm in right now, because I do want to get better. I started drinking at a very young age. That was kind of all it was until I went to my first year in college, CSU Pueblo, and then I came back home, and that's when I started doing methamphetamines, and I hated the way it made me feel. At the time, everybody was already doing like heroin and stuff, and one of my friends told me, like, this will help you feel better, you know, like it'll bring you from up here, it'll bring you down. So I tried it. They were like, it's gonna make you sick. And I don't know why I did it, but I did it anyway. And after that, it just instant addiction to the way it made you feel, which was nothing. So I was actually sober for some time before I moved back home. I was doing pretty good. I had a good job, and then some things happened, and I'm not sure what happened, like why I decided to use again, but I started doing methamphetamines. So that just kind of takes over. It just takes over your life, especially when you don't feel like you have something in place to work for. You kind of in my case, I just let it take over me, and I started losing pieces of myself. I was in dark places. Didn't know who I was anymore. Didn't know where to go, didn't know where to turn, and I mean, things just kind of started unfolding, because if there's one thing about me, that I'm not going to let anybody walk all over me or my family. So the situations that happened kind of just brought me into that. And then even though I was a bit chaotic, it just kind of, like I said, I started to spiral. So when everything came together, it was a heavy load for me to consider my options. At that point, I didn't have any options. It seemed like it was either go to prison or I mean, at the time, it was just go to prison. So, like I said, I had to advocate for myself, and found a different option. And that's kind of when I was like, this is it, Kodie. Like, you need to make a decision. Either you lose everything or you fight for it.
And so the thing we've realized with drug court is we provide community. We provide an environment where you're still where you're at, where you can live in your home, in your community, but yet you have the support of those who aren't involved in that system. And most of the same people you're participating with in drug court are from the community. Maybe not from your community, but from other locations in the valley. So they understand the life that you've had. They understand what you've seen. So for Kodie, you know, I think that what you're describing is exactly that. She needed that support in the community to get to be strong enough to come out and be a part of the community. And that's really what we strive for in drug court. We know most of these folks are going to probably stay here, so we want to give them the support in the community to be a part of the community, so that she can go back to wherever it is she wants to go, to Antonito or wherever else, and be stable there, knowing that she has friends or supports that are outside of that program. And I think the participants in drug court, the staff and the treatment providers, they provide that basis and that strength for people to be comfortable to go back to their communities and be safe, and to know that they can reach out and have support.
Come on home, I'll check for text. Love me gently in the boom.
It was kind of just like a rock, like a grounding tool for me. Not so much in physical sense, but you know, metaphorically or whatever. That was my grounding rock. So I always just would come back to it. Now that it's over, I need to. I mean, like I know I have other grounding rocks in place, so I just have to resort to those ones.
In the boom. Let me die in the boom. It took me 13 years to blame. I'm beat up, but I'm alright. I'll be in town till late tonight. Just dying